Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Five Star Zone. I'm your host, Rico Beard, and today I want to talk about the punishment that Michigan State just got handed down a few days ago from the NCAA. And Michigan State, just to bring you all up to speed, many of you probably know this, but if not, let's just get everybody on the same page. Michigan State received 3 years probation, a financial penalty of $30,000 plus 1.5% of the budget for the MSU football program. So you're looking at roughly about another $500,000 of their budget from the football program. Restrictions on official visits, unofficial visits, recruiting communications, recruiting persons' days off-campus recruiting contacts, and evaluations over the next 3 years throughout this 3-year probationary period, plus vacated wins. Okay, we'll get to that a little bit later. Due to participation of 3 ineligible student athletes who we do not know the names of those guys yet, and a show cause for former staff members. Those include Mel Tucker, those include Saeed Khalif, and those include Brandon Jordan, who those guys have all moved on. All right. Just so you know, President Guskowitz and Jay Batt were not involved in this. This was done through the MSU lawyers, and they were the ones who worked with the NCAA. First of all, why would you ever work with the NCAA? Because the NCAA is the Washington Generals. They lose every case. So it makes you wonder, why did MSU do something that nobody else has done? Heck, Michigan has spat in the face of the NCAA, and they got hit with nothing. As a matter of fact, one of the ironies of this is one of the games Michigan State has to forfeit or vacate is the Central Michigan game, where a Michigan staff member played dress up as a Central Michigan assistant coach. And yeah, but in the end, Michigan State had to give that game up, but Michigan received really no punishment but a $30 million fine, no vacated wins, no nothing like that. But if you're Michigan State, you got to wonder, why in the world did you stop when a mall cop told you to stop? Because when a mall cop tells you to stop, you say, you have no power, you have no jurisdiction, I'm going to my car. You can't do anything to me. But Michigan State stopped and got frisked and got put into the little office of the mall cop. Well, here's the thing. It leads you to wonder, based off of everything that I told you, either Michigan State and that legal team that put this package together were geniuses and were playing chess, or this university has no idea what they're doing and they deserve everything that they can get. I'm going to go with they knew what they were doing. When you really look at this, I think, look, talking with some of the Michigan State higher-ups, one of their biggest fears was, what if Mel Tucker had a case? When they fired Mel Tucker, we all know what he did down in the hotel room with Brenda Tracy. But they didn't know if Mel Tucker, if he took him to court, could he say, it was my own personal life, and it had nothing to do with MSU football, so you had no reason to fire me because of that? Or would the judge say, no, you know what, you're the head coach of Michigan State football, and you're always the coach no matter what you do, and it was a breach of contract? But a lot of people in Michigan State didn't know if the judge would side with Mel Tucker. And at that point, what do you do with the remaining $75-80 million that you owe Mel Tucker? And I think that was one of the reasons that's been slowing up, because everybody, let's face it, they want Jonathan Smith bought out. They want to move on from Jonathan Smith. I believe, and I'm just going to tell you, I believe that Michigan State knew exactly what they were doing. Michigan State took the penalty. They became Cersei Lannister, and they did the walk of shame down Grand River, and they walked all the way till they got to the football building, to the Scandalaris building, and then said, you know what? Guess what? Now that we have this officially on paper and documents saying that Mel Tucker had people on his staff do bad things, and we took the crime, because the punishment didn't match the crime. And I really think that it was more so they just needed the NCAA to give them a speeding ticket so they could officially say, okay, here's the deal. Because in essence, Michigan State spent, I think, a little over, let's just say $14,000, a little under $14,000. Let's just keep the numbers round. $14,000 worth of inappropriate benefits they gave out to recruits. Now, first of all, if that's the case, you're cheating wrong. You're not cheating right. If you're going to cheat, you cheat. You go out there and you spend the money. So either you couldn't cheat well, which let's face it, they couldn't because you didn't bring any difference makers into the program. But then again, what do you expect for spending $14,000 in the world of college football when the Texas Tech defensive line is worth $7 million? You got busted for $14,000. Basically, for every vacated win, it cost you $1,000. That's just an easy way to put that since you vacated 14 wins. But with this, I think that you now have proof that you could say, hey, Mel Tucker, you did something, you breached your contract, and we don't owe you anything. So we'll gladly pay. We'll take the 14 games that are gone. And I don't think Jay Batten Guskowitz thought that was going to happen. They were a little shocked over the 14 games, but it was 14 games. Dude, at this point, it's BOGO. Take the losses, too, because there's nothing that you're really regretting. What's that, real quick, what's that big game that you'll always remember? I'll wait. Exactly. The Central Michigan game was probably the biggest game that you remember. And that's because what went on and what you found out afterwards. But now I think Michigan State finally has a leg to stand on in case Mel Tucker goes to court with this saying, hey, you still owe me the money. Hey, Mel, actually, no, we don't, because there's now a NCAA show cause against you. You're one of the people named in there. So if that's the case, then, well, at least your staff members got show causes. If that's the case, we don't owe you a dime. And now if you're Michigan State, I think you can prepare to move on and figure out what you're going to do next, what you're going to do with Jonathan Smith, what you're going to do with that money that you don't have to spend out. Because I do kind of think that money was a little bit in escrow in case they had to pay it out. You couldn't pay him, pay Jonathan Smith. It was just going to be chaos. And I don't think MSU had that type of money. Now that I believe that they feel that they've gotten that elephant off of their back, that monkey off their back, they can move forward and they can now figure out what to do next with Smith. Do you keep him around? Now, here's the irony. Smith may end up getting an extra year. Now, look, I don't know. I thought he was going to be gone, but now that they're sitting there with this 3-year probation period, it's going to be very difficult to entice another coach to walk into this mess. It's not a hot mess, but it is a little bit of a mess. And now with all the other jobs out there, you're not as attractive of a job because whoever comes in has to know, oh, by the way, you can't screw up at all because, well, we're Michigan State and we don't really know how to cheat and we're going to show our belly in case we do get caught. So I do think that there's something to keep a watch on, that he may get another opportunity. I understand why they're thinking that way. I hope to God that they don't, because I don't know how he's going to recruit people to come to MSU. I don't know how he's going to keep players from not just taking off and leaving. I don't know how he's going to look. There's nothing that he's done in this 2 years that he's been here. There's no signature victories. There's nothing. It's just nothing. And, Kirk Cignetti is going to be the bane of his existence along with other coaches. But say what you want about Kirk Cignetti. He came in and he made changes. He made differences. Jonathan Smith has not made those differences. But this isn't a Jonathan Smith thing. This is going back to Michigan State. When I look at this Michigan State team, what do you do next? Well, next you have to figure out how much do you want to invest in this team? Now, from what I've been gathering, they're getting ready to do a major fundraising for the football stadium. They have hundreds of millions of dollars they're trying to get to put in there for stadium renovation and just an overall facelift and really bring this football program from the dark ages into the light and become a have and not a have-not. You don't have to pay Tucker. Let's face it. You're going to end up with some egg on your face. It's going to look bad. Is it fair? No, it's not fair. But if you're a Spartan fan, you can't let your world be based on, well, Michigan didn't have this happen to them, so why do we have it? Look, bigger picture, think, okay, we now know we have money to spend. We can go after recruits. We can go after transfers. We have the assets to be better. Now, are you going to be better? I can't say. Who gets to spend that money? Who does to do the grocery shopping? I don't know if it's going to be Coach Smith or not, but at least I think with this ruling from the NCAA, as bad as it looks, and the crime does not fit the punishment, you don't have to pay Mel Tucker. Just remember that. So when people are teasing you and saying all of that, laugh, shrug it off, because maybe this is the beginning of a new era. Maybe this is going to be the beginning of Michigan State starting to win. Maybe now Michigan State will go out there and spend millions of dollars and bring in transfers and get some high-end recruits and get some NFL players. And maybe this is it, because now you no longer have the sword of Damocles hanging over your head. You now can officially take a deep breath and know if Tucker takes us to court, it's just going to be practice for him and his lawyers, because they really won't have a leg to stand on. You won't have to make that buyout. I don't think that they could have bought out Jonathan Smith and paid Mel Tucker. It would have put the university into too big of a hole. Just what's going to happen with Smith, I'm sure we're going to get into that a little bit later. But looking at what happened now, this is why I say I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. I don't think it's as bad as because for Spartan fans, you have to get over the fact, is it fair? No, it is not fair. 14 wins vacated when other schools have done things and they did not get their things vacated, especially when Michigan just went through this sham of an investigation and the NCAA came out and said they had level 1 things happen, but you know what? There was no precedent, so we're not going to take away any victories from them. And you got 14 taken away from you. Ask yourself, are you really going to miss those 14 wins? It sucks. I get it. You're disappointed. I get it. You didn't have the same things happen to other schools as happened to you. I get it. But it allows you to move forward. It allows you to now look to your future, and we'll see what happens. But that's just kind of my breakdown of how I feel what happened. And yeah, I don't think if it's the other way around and I'm totally wrong, then shut this team down, shut this program down. You have absolutely no idea what you're doing. If you got flim-flam by the NCAA, who, as I stated earlier, they're the Washington Generals, they never win cases, they lose to everybody, then you got issues. But I think this is one where you kind of just laid down and you took this loss because you needed proof that you can hold on to, just in case Coach Tucker decides he wants to come after the university. They can say, no, Mel. It's like the Kimbe Mutombo. No. We got this. You're on the show cause. Your people came in. They're on the show cause. You cheated. You did some inappropriate things. You paid for some recruits. It was $14,000 worth, but it's still something that the NCAA frowns upon. If that's the case, if you're Michigan State fans, look at it as you now started your future. How about that? To end this thing on a positive note. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the Michigan State NCAA investigation and the punishment they got handed down to them. We now have to wait to see what Jay Batt is going to do, what President Gus Kowitz is going to do, what's going to happen next, how do they move forward. And the thing about Batt is we really don't know because he works in silence. We all speculate what he's going to do. We all hear rumors of what he's going to do, but he hasn't really come out and said specifically what he's going to do. You look at all the different hirings that they keep bringing in, that he keeps bringing in all types of fundraising guys. He stole somebody from Purdue. He stole somebody from Maryland. These are all top fundraisers. I think you can kind of see that Michigan State's really trying to raise a ton of money to go from being a have-not to being a have, to being a team that people want to go to see, to being a team that has everything that you're looking for. So we got to wait to see exactly what's going to happen. But I do think this is one hurdle that got cleared, and not only cleared, it got removed. And now we'll wait to see what happens next. Anyway, That's all I got for now. I'm your host, Rico Beard. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Keep telling your friends. I'll be back to break down the Big Ten games and what happens later on this weekend. Oh, by the way, just to kind of show you where Michigan State fans are as I'm recording this, MSU's taking on San Jose State, the Spartans of San Jose. They put up Jonathan Smith on the Jumbotron, and according to multiple sources, including Larry Lage from the AP, yeah, the crowd booed him. I think the people, they're fed up with Jonathan Smith. Unless this guy runs the table in the final 3 games, I don't see how Michigan State fans are going to embrace him unless something, I don't know. I just don't see it happening. I think his days are numbered, but he may get another year based upon all of this. Anyway, I'm Rico Beard. Thanks for watching. Keep liking and subscribing, telling your friends, keep rating the show. I'll be back later on in the week. For now, thanks for watching the 5 Star Zone.